Hey, we are picking up with chapter 11 of PSB 11. The girls just saw the Jackson 5 for the first time late night on a spy mission, sneaking into the living room. And this chapter is called At Madison Square Garden. And Madison Square Garden is a performing center in New York. The front passenger seat and the Wildcat belonged to Big Pa. The whole gang of us piled into the car. If Big Ma stayed home, Uncle Darnell sat up front next to Pa. If it was just us girls with Pa, that seat was mine. And I loved being up front, stealing glances at my Pa as he hummed but didn't whistle to Otis Redding's Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and of course to Old Man River. All songs that suited my old Pa. Sometimes he'd pass me the smallest grin, and I'd feel wonderful bumping along as the tires hit every pothole on Atlantic or Fulton Avenue on our way to wherever we were going. Vanetta would wail, "Why does she," meaning me, "get to sit up front all the time?" "And not us," Fern would chirp in. Then Pa always said, "To keep an eye on the road," as if I was really doing something when all I did was keep Pa company. I'd ride along bumbling up with the things to say, but I never uttered one, which suited Pa fine. He just wanted me to be with him. That was how it was between Cecil and me when I was little, and she kept me with her while she wrote poems and listened to Sarah Vaughan records on our deluxe stereo while Vanetta howled in her crib. When Miss Hendricks bit down and slid her bottom onto the passenger seat, swinging her legs in last, I knew my days of riding up front next to Pa and the Wildcat were numbered. "Can we go to the RKO after Central Park, Pa?" Vanetta asked. Miss Hendricks snickered and gave Pa a playful tap. "Pa, that sounds old and country." Pa shrugged it off, but I didn't. I took note of everything she did and said. We were close to the Brooklyn Bridge when Vanetta cried, "Look!" "What?" I asked, convinced it was nothing at all. I had been staring off into the blur of Miss Marva Hendricks's curly afro. "Look, look!" she cried out. And then I saw it. We all saw what Vanetta could see from hundreds of feet away. A billboard of Jackie, Jermaine, Tito, Marlon, and Michael sporting big Applejacks caps over their even bigger afros. We screamed. The letters on the billboard showed us the Jackson 5 at Madison Square Garden. And underneath those words, December. The inside of the Wildcat became a cage of screaming and seat jumping until we finally heard Pa shouting, all right back there." Miss Marva Hendricks laughed and laughed. I screamed for Jackie, whose real name was Sigmund, and I screamed for Tito, who had the best eyebrows and always looked cool and tough. Vanetta screamed for Jermaine, who was kind of good looking, and she screamed for Marlon, who she claimed was the best dancer. The only Jackson Fern screamed for was Michael. Every chance we got, we'd stand in the record department of Corvettes and study every inch of their album cover. "Papa, can we go to Madison Square Garden in December?" I asked. "To see the Jackson 5? We want to see the Jackson 5. We sealed our wishes together, singing, "Please." "The Jackson who?" Pa asked. "Sounds like Mississippi Chain Gang." Vanetta asked, "What's a chain gang?" "They make chains," Fern answered, sounding every bit like me. The two got to arguing about chain gangs, which I think Pa intended all along. I wouldn't let go of our wishes. If we learned anything from our summer with the Black Panthers, we learned to be clear about what we wanted and to be willing to do whatever was necessary to get it. "They are not a prison chain gang." I threw in the prison part to answer Vanetta's question and for solidarity. I needed my sisters to be united with me and to stay focused. "The Jackson 5 is the best singing group in the world. In the universe," Vanetta added, "and the Milky Way." Jackson 5? Pa said. Never heard of them. Can't sing better than Sam Cooke or the Temptations. And what about Smokey Robinson and the Miracles? Miss Hendricks said. Oh, and Marvin Gaye. I said, the Jackson 5 are better than all those singers and groups put together. Their afros are bigger, Vanetta said. And they have Michael, Fern said. He's better than best. He is not, I said. Jermaine is the best, Vanetta said. Jackie's the best looking, I said. And then Tito. Not hardly, Vanetta said. Jermaine is. And Marlon is the best dancer, like I am. And before we knew it, our solidarity had fallen apart. For the rest of the ride to Central Park, we did nothing but argue about the Jackson 5 until Fern began to sing Can You Remember? And Vanetta and I joined her. Pa and Miss Hendricks talked amongst themselves. We bought ginger ale and a bucket of fried chicken, and we headed over to Central Park with a blanket. Big Ma wouldn't have seen the point in an outing like this, especially buying store fried chicken. But there we were, spending a lazy Saturday afternoon with our father, eating chicken I didn't have to cut, clean, and fry. I could put up with this lady friend tagging along. Papa, I said calmly as I could, we want to see the Jackson 5. At Madison Square Garden, in December. All together, we again sang, please. I don't know, Pa said. Madison Square Garden, New York City. Mobs of screaming teenagers. I don't know. This was a time that called for Uncle Darnell. He'd know who the Jackson 5 were, and he was grown enough to take us to the garden. Instead of Uncle Darnell coming to our rescue, Miss Hendricks said, what if I took them? Vanetta and Fern began to shriek, and Pa covered his ears. As much as I wanted to see Jackie and Tito in person, I refused to shriek. I didn't want anything from Pa's lady friend. How much could the tickets cost, sweetie? She fluttered her eyelashes at my father. $5, $6 each, and a little extra for soda, popcorn, Raisinets, maybe a hot dog. My sisters screamed. Pa choked. Marva, honey, that's nearly $7 or $8. All I heard was, honey. Are you sure you want to do that? All those rowdy teenagers screaming and hollering over some finger-popping little hoodlum in an afro? They're not hoodlums, Vanetta cried out. They're entertainers. Surely are, Fern said. They entertain us. The honey stuck to me, the sick sweetness of it. I knew I had to unstick myself if I wanted to see Jackie and Tito Jackson. I decided I wanted to see them more than I didn't like Pa's lady friend. As long as the girls behave, there won't be a problem, Miss Marva Hendricks said. We'll behave, Vanetta pledged without hesitating. We will behave, we will be good, be seeing Michael, Fern said in one breath. Surely will. I didn't add my voice to my sisters, but I at least nodded. Then Pa said, and Delphine, will you see to it that they do? To him I said, yes, Papa. And it will be my treat, Pa's lady friend said. There was screaming and cheering from Vanetta and Fern, but Papa said, oh no, can't let you do that, Marva honey. And Vanetta and Fern had an aw shucks fit. If you girls want to see these little boys sing and dance, you'll have to earn half the money for your tickets and refreshments, Pa said, and I'll pay the other half. I felt myself coming out of the sticky honey sulk. If I knew anything, I knew how to earn my way. Pa said, if you pitch in around the house, you'll get a weekly allowance. I get a weekly allowance, I told Pa. They'll get one too, he said. But I work for mine, I said. They'll work for theirs too. Good idea, Miss Hendricks chirped. That's a good idea, Lou. And then she reached over and kissed him, leaving her chicken oil and lipstick on his cheek. But you'll have to save your money, Pa said, ignoring the greasy kiss. That means no chasing the ice cream truck with every penny you earn, he said to Vanetta and Fern. If you want my money, you'll have to save yours. Don't worry, Pa, I spoke up. I'll make sure they save. Then, at the part where Pa was supposed to pat me on the head for saying the right thing, Miss Marva Hendricks said, "Why can't Vanetta be in charge of saving?" No one said a word. Hers was a shock of an idea that caught anyone chewing or swallowing. Even Vanetta had to cough. She got over the shock and said, "Yeah, why can't I be in charge of the saving?" "Because," I said, "the saver has to be reasonable or responsible." That should have fixed that. But nosy Miss Marva Hendricks said, "How will she learn responsibility if she's not given a chance?" "I can learn responsibility," Vanetta chirped up. She looked worried. "Surely can," Fern added for solidarity. Then Miss Marva Hendricks asked, "What is with all this, surely?" Later, at the line for the bathroom, Vanetta and Fern went in together, leaving me alone with Miss Hendricks. I said, "What if Vanetta loses the money we save?" She stepped on my question right away with one of her own. "Delphine, do you know what a self-fulfilling prophecy is?" I could have figured it out with more time than a second to answer, but I said no. There was no point spinning straw and coming up all straw and no gold. She said, "Don't wish for bad things to happen, Delphine. Vanetta deserves a chance." I said, "I'm always in charge." I made sure I spoke Papa calm and not Cecil crazy, although I felt Cecil crazy. Papa and Big Ma depend on me to look out for my sisters. I know you're older, Delphine, but if you keep your sisters down, they'll never learn. She might not have used the word, but I heard her calling me an oppressor. Someone who keeps the people down. It isn't oppression if you get whipped for what your sisters do and don't do. It's keeping them in line. I don't keep my sisters down, I said. But she didn't say anything, and neither could I. I was both angry and hurt. Nothing good could come out of my mouth. Certainly not gold. And that's the end of that chapter. So, interesting twist here. Miss Marva Hendricks is offering to take him to the show, but Delphine's still kind of having some run-ins with her. We'll see where it goes, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.